Jennifer, good afternoon. Thanks for your time. Let me start by asking how you've been doing during this lockdown. How have you been personally affected?
Well, it's very much the same as everybody else. I'm stuck at home and I'm having to be creative with my time and space and stilling fears about what's going to happen and how's it going to be. But of course, I am very, very lucky and very privileged in that I have a home and I have food on my plate. And so when I was asked to participate in this collaboration between HCI and ENCA, I was only too pleased, and the gift is mine to be here this afternoon. So, yeah, thank you.
Let's talk about those that are not privileged during this difficult time. How important is it to give whatever people can, especially those that are in a privileged position? Because we are affected differently, but there are people that are really struggling to survive. So how important is that giving during this time?
Well, I wanted to approach this interview by sort of talking about myself being an actor. Yeah. And an actor's world is one of stories and imagination. And so when we imagine a situation where people are suffering, like our brothers and sisters are in many, 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 many corners of this country, we really inhabit that space, and we allow our compassion to imagine and to feel deeply for our fellow South Africans. And so, it's often one thinks, gee, people are suffering, and gee, people have nothing, and, I have so much, but we sort of think that and we push it away. And so I just want to encourage people to just go a little bit deeper, to not be afraid, to really imagine what it's like to have nothing. In the old days, people used to cook boiling water just to make the sound of cooking so the children felt that there was something being cooked. So it's a place of enormous deprivation and suffering, which I just encourage people not to be afraid to really imagine, so that their hearts can be opened to a real compassion, so that one doesn't even hesitate for a moment to donate. And then to just say that, ENCA is investigative journalism, so they must have looked at the HCI Foundation very carefully, and you wouldn't have this collaboration if it wasn't just the best place to put your money.
I want to ask, I want to ask Jennifer about what other artists can do during this difficult time. Obviously, there's a level of influence that artists have. These are the people, we see you guys on our screens almost every day, whether you are an actress, whether you're a presenter, whether you're a musician as well. There's a level of influence that you have. So sometimes when artists don't have a lot to give, but they can play a role in rallying other South Africans, some of their fans, to also play a part in helping those that are vulnerable during this time.
Yes, absolutely, and I think that's happening already. I know there are musicians and various celebrities that are actually participating in handing out food parcels and such. And there is an enormous amount of creative work happening online where, poetry is being read, stories are being read. I happen to be part of Baxter Radio, which is not launched yet, but where content is being collected together to share with people who maybe don't have the internet, so it can go via radio platforms. So artists are all over the place, I think, bringing their heart, their imagination, their artistry to share their experiences. And when they do that, they tell stories. We tell stories, and it's through stories that people who watch or listen can relate and feel that they are being heard because artists are reflecting their lives. Yeah. I'm fascinated too by by relationship, the relationship between the giver and the receiver. So in acting, there's always acting is reacting. There's this relationship between two people or within a situation. And so I'm fascinated by this amazing opportunity between those who are giving and this opportunity to give and those who are receiving. And although we don't even see each other, to know that this relationship is there, it's wonderful. And then this relationship must continue, you know, this relationship between the one who gives and the one who receives. Yeah. And also just to, you know, we talk a lot about, you know, how to give, but I'm also very keen to speak into those that receive, to remain calm, you know, it must be really, really hard when you are desperate and frustrated and angry and without hope. To unclench your fist, you know. So I just call for calm for those people who receive, because it is in calmness. Calmness is a great way to survive, you know, and I think calmness is something that's like vital for all of us. So this relationship that is happening now all the time between amazing foundations like the HCI and others who are gathering funds, working together to send out food, obviously from the government as well, you know, just to remain calm so that that food can get to where it should be, the food and the resources.
All right, Jennifer Steyn, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon and sharing some of those positive things about the need to just pull together during this difficult time and help those that are vulnerable.